Stop budgeting right now. If you're a guy putting in real hours and bringing home decent money, the advice you've been given, cut the coffee, skip the drive-thru, sacrifice everything you actually enjoy, isn't just miserable. It's the exact reason you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Today, we're throwing that whole system out. I'm going to show you the anti-budget, a system that lets you actually enjoy your life right now while quietly building real wealth in the background. No spreadsheets, no guilt trips, no skipping the things you look forward to. My name is Steve. I spent years in construction and as a track welder for a railroad. I've watched too many guys white-knuckle a budget for 3 weeks and then blow the whole thing apart in one bad Saturday. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. Real quick before we get into this, I'm not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice. This is for education and entertainment only. Always talk to a licensed professional before you make any big moves with your money. Now let's fix your budget. Here's why traditional budgeting fails almost everybody who tries it. It works exactly like a crash diet. You tell yourself you're going to save every dollar and for 2 weeks, you actually do it. Then your willpower snaps. You say no to your buddies. You eat leftovers all week. And by week 3, you're so worn down by the restriction that you blow $300 on something stupid just to feel normal again. And you're right back where you started. And here's the actual science behind why that happens. Because it's not a character flaw. Your willpower works like a muscle that gets tired the more you use it. Psychologists call it ego depletion. Every single time you tell yourself no to the coffee, no to the lunch out, no to the thing you actually want, you're spending down a limited tank of self-control. By the end of a long work week, that tank is empty, and an empty willpower tank combined with exhaustion is exactly the condition that leads to a blowout purchase. You're not weak. You just ran the tank dry using it on things that never should have been on the list in the first place. You're not bad with money. You're using a system built to make you feel broke. So let's fix it. 3 things. That's the whole system. First, find your invisible raise. Most guys try to save money by cutting things they actually care about. Wrong move. Real wealth building starts by ruthlessly cutting the stuff you don't even notice. We call these phantom expenses. When's the last time you called your car insurance and actually asked for a lower rate? When's the last time you checked if your internet bill went up $15 a month without you noticing? Here's exactly what to say when you call. You tell them you've been a loyal customer and you're looking at your options because your budget's gotten tighter. Ask if there's a loyalty discount, a bundle discount, or a lower tier plan that still covers what you need. Ask directly. Is this the best rate you can offer me right now? Half the time, they'll knock $10 to $30 off on the spot just because you asked. The other half, they'll transfer you to a retention department that exists specifically to keep you from canceling. And that department has more room to negotiate than the first person you talk to. 20 minutes on the phone negotiating those fixed costs can put an extra $100 back in your pocket every single month. Your life doesn't change. Your internet still works the same. Your bank account just gets heavier. You didn't pick up a single extra shift. You just gave yourself a raise nobody has to sign off on. While you're at it, go through every subscription hitting your account, streaming services you haven't opened in 3 months, a gym membership you paid for in January and stopped using by February, an app that was free for 30 days and then wasn't. The average guy is bleeding $80 to $100 a month on subscriptions he forgot he had. That's not a guess. Pull up your bank statement right now and count them. Most guys are shocked at the number once they actually look. Add that to the insurance and internet renegotiation and you're looking at $150 to $200 a month found. Not earned, not sacrificed, just found, sitting in places you weren't even looking. Here's the part most guys skip, and it's the part that actually matters. The moment you find that $150 to $200, set up an automatic transfer for that exact amount into a separate savings or investing account the same day your paycheck hits. If you don't move it somewhere, it can't be casually spent. It just quietly gets reabsorbed into your regular checking account and disappears into gas and groceries within a month. You'll never notice it left, but you'll also never notice it building. Moving it out of sight is what turns a phone call into actual long-term money instead of just a smaller cell phone bill. Second, kill the delivery app leak. This one's brutal, and most guys don't realize how bad it actually is. You order a $20 meal on an app. By the time you add the service fee, the small order fee, and the tip, that meal just cost you $35. You paid a $15 premium to avoid putting your boots back on. Make yourself one rule. Eat whatever takeout you want, but you drive there and pick it up yourself. You save hundreds of dollars a month and you never once feel deprived of the food you actually want. Same burger, same wings. Just without paying a guy $15 to drive it 4 blocks in his Corolla. If you order delivery 3 times a week, that $15 premium adds up to $45 a week, nearly $200 a month, just for the convenience of not putting your shoes on. Over a year, that's $2,340, just from picking up your own food. Now here's where these 2 leaks actually start to matter. Let's say between the invisible raise and killing the delivery app habit, you find $300 a month. Doesn't feel like much in the moment, but put that $300 a month into a basic S&P 500 index fund at the historical average of around 10% annually. And past performance doesn't guarantee future results, but nearly 70 years of data is hard to argue with. And in 20 years, you're looking at roughly $227,000. Money that came from phone calls and picking up your own dinner. Not from working more hours. Not from a raise. Just from plugging leaks you never noticed you had. One more thing on tracking all this. You don't need a spreadsheet to make this work. That's the whole point of the anti-budget. Pick one number. Just one. How much is sitting in your checking account right now? Check it every Sunday night. Same time, same routine, takes 10 seconds. You're not categorizing every purchase or logging every burrito. You're just watching one number trend up over time instead of staying flat or draining down. If that number is climbing month over month, the system's working. If it's not, you know something's off and you can go figure out what leaked. That's the entire tracking system. One number, one glance, a week. Now here's the harder one. Plugging those leaks gives you breathing room. But it won't save you from the second thing keeping guys broke. The app on your phone that's specifically designed to drain your wallet. Companies spend billions engineering apps to get you to buy without thinking. Save payment info so there's zero friction between wanting something and owning it. One-click checkout. Countdown timers that make you think the deal disappears if you wait. Algorithms that learn exactly what you scroll past twice and put more of it in front of you tomorrow. None of this is an accident. Teams of people get paid specifically to make it as easy as possible for you to spend money without thinking about it first. You're scrolling after a long day, you see something you want, and your brain wants the dopamine hit right now. One click and the friction is gone. You can drop $200 lying on the couch before your brain even wakes up enough to ask if you actually need it. You cannot out-willpower a billion-dollar algorithm. You'll lose every time. So instead of fighting it, use the 24-hour rule. When you see something you want that you don't need, don't tell yourself no. Telling yourself no triggers that same crash diet mentality that gets you in trouble and drains that willpower tank we talked about earlier. Instead, add it to the cart, close the tab, and tell yourself, I'm going to buy this, just not today. Here's what happens in that 24 hours. It's basically a magic trick for your bank account. The dopamine spike crashes overnight. You wake up, look at that card again, and 9 times out of 10, you don't even want it anymore. You just wanted the thrill of buying something. Close the tab, move on. You didn't say no, you just said not right now. That one shift in thinking is the difference between a lifetime of impulse debt and actually keeping your money. Third, and this is the one that actually makes the whole system work. It's what I call the trophy rule. Traditional budgets fail because they demand equal sacrifice across the board. Some guru tells you to cut spending by 20%, so you cut your groceries a little, your hobbies a little, your one weekend trip a year a little. Your whole life just becomes a slightly worse, slightly more boring version of itself. Nobody sticks with that. Nobody wants to. The trophy rule flips that. Write down the 1 or 2 things in your life that actually bring you real pride and satisfaction. Maybe it's your annual hunting trip. Maybe it's the boat. Maybe it's finally outfitting the garage the way you've always wanted. Here's the rule. You spend big on those 1 or 2 things, guilt-free, and you cut mercilessly on everything else. Now here's the guardrail, because without one, this turns into an excuse to overspend on everything. The trophy rule only works if it's genuinely 1 or 2 things, not 5, not everything you kind of like. If you're being honest with yourself, most guys can name their real 1 or 2 immediately. The hunting trip, the boat, the garage. Everything else has to take a back seat, including stuff you'd normally spend on without thinking twice. If you try to apply this to your truck, your golf habit, your bar tab, and your hobby all at the same time, you haven't built a system. You've just given yourself permission to spend the same way you always did. The whole point is concentration. All the guilt-free spending goes into a couple of things you actually care about, and everything else gets cut hard so there's real money to put there. I know a guy like this. Drives a 15-year-old truck with a check engine light that's basically part of the dash now. Wears the same 3 flannels on rotation. Doesn't go out much. If you saw him on a random Tuesday, you'd think he was barely scraping by. Every single summer, he takes his whole family to the lake for a full week. No budget, no guilt. And every weekend in the garage, he's got a project car he's slowly restoring with actual money, not credit. Is that guy bad with money? Not even close. He figured out he doesn't care about the truck, so he refuses to pay a big payment on something he doesn't actually value. He cuts hard on the stuff society says he's supposed to care about so he can pour real money into the two things that actually matter to him. This is the whole cheat code right here. When your money lines up with what you actually value, the budget stops feeling like a prison sentence. When the guys at work ask why you're still running the old phone, you don't feel behind. You feel like you're finally in control. Because your money is funding the life you actually want instead of paying for a truck that's worth half what you owe on it. And here's the thing that took me too long to figure out myself. You cannot hate your way into wealth. If you try to sprint the first mile by cutting every single thing you enjoy, you're going to quit by week 3. Every time. That's not a discipline problem. That's just how willpower actually works. So stop budgeting like you're already broke. Find your invisible raise. Use the 24-hour rule to shut down the impulse buys before they start. Build your trophy budget around the 2 things that actually matter and stop feeling guilty about everything else. Look, none of this makes you rich overnight. Plug the leaks, protect the 1 or 2 things that actually matter, and let time do the rest. If this helped, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.